They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but I've been around long enough to know when someone's trying to pull a fast one. My name's Walter Briggs. I'm 72 years old, and I've lived on this land since I was 5. My daddy worked it, and I worked it after him. This ranch isn't just property. It's family. It's legacy. It's the soil my wife and I raised 2 boys on, and the ground my firstborn is buried under. You don't mess with a man's land. Not out here. Not ever. But someone tried. Her name was Karen Delaney, a sharp-dressed, clipboard-hugging woman in her mid-30s who moved into one of those new houses they built a couple years back, right next to the southern edge of my property. The city allowed some developers to come in and slap together a fancy little subdivision they called Meadow Ridge Trails. What a joke. No meadows, no trails. Just concrete, fences, and folks who think the country is cute until a rooster crows before 7 a.m. Karen got herself elected president of the brand new HOA. I didn't think much of it at first. We're technically outside their little bubble. My ranch sits on 60 acres of free land, old land. I pay my taxes, keep to myself, and don't ask for favors. I figured they'd leave me alone. I figured wrong. It started small. A note in my mailbox asking if I could consider repainting the barn on the south side because the color clashed with the homes across the way. Then came a suggestion to move livestock feeding farther from the property line because the smell was affecting resident enjoyment. I crumpled both letters and tossed them in the burn barrel. Then came the surveyors. I was mending a fence on the west pasture when I spotted 2 fellas in safety vests with tripods poking around just past the oak trees. That land's mine. Been mine since '58. So I drove the ATV down and asked them what in God's name they were doing. One mumbled something about boundary clarification for the HOA. I told them politely, once, to get off my land before I let loose the dogs. They didn't argue. But then came the real blow. Karen showed up at my front gate a few days later in heels, sunglasses, and a folder under her arm. She smiled that smile, the kind that says, I'm pretending to be friendly while planning to take something from you. She told me the HOA had found possible evidence that a portion of my south pasture was improperly recorded during an old plat transfer. Said their legal team believed that roughly 8 acres near the fence line, the grazing land my late wife helped clear herself, might be communal green space for the new subdivision. I blinked. You're telling me the land I've ridden, fenced, and paid taxes on since Eisenhower was president belongs to your HOA? She gave me a soft, syrupy look. Only if the paperwork lines up, but we're hopeful you'll cooperate. I shut the gate in her face. Now, I'm not the kind of man to lose his cool, but I called my oldest friend Roy, a retired county surveyor, and asked him to come by. We dug through old records, plat maps, even scanned copies of deeds from the 70s. And guess what? My borders hadn't changed in 60 years. Every line was rock solid. But then Roy pulled up the county's digital registry and whistled low. There was a new, pending revision request attached to my southern plot, submitted just 2 weeks ago. By who? Karen Delaney, HOA president. I felt the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. This wasn't a mistake. It was a con. A slow, sneaky push to lay false claims, revise records, and steal my land with bureaucracy. She couldn't buy it. So she was trying to take it by burying me in paperwork and fake authority. I decided to get ahead of it. I contacted the county clerk in person and filed a formal protest. I handed over every document, deeds, maps, letters. I also installed new cameras along the fence line, just in time, because a week later I caught a group of HOA volunteers laying down orange spray paint on my grass, trying to mark boundaries for what they were calling a community walking trail. On my land. I printed those images along with the video and walked right into the town's community hall the following Thursday. Karen was hosting a homeowners meeting, sipping from a latte like she owned the place. I didn't wait for the microphone. I stepped to the front, slammed the photos on the table, and said loud enough for the entire room to hear, "This is my land, and if you or your board step one more boot onto it, I'll bury you in lawsuits so deep your HOA fees won't cover the ink." Karen tried to play it cool, but her hands were shaking. Her carefully planned takeover wasn't going to go the way she thought. But it wasn't over yet. Later that night, something happened that made my blood run cold. That night, long after I'd settled into my worn recliner and the dogs curled at my feet, I saw headlights coming down the old gravel path near the south pasture. No one should be driving down there. Not at that hour, not on my land. I grabbed my coat, my flashlight, and the old Winchester from the cabinet. When I stepped outside, I caught a glimpse of a white SUV backing up quickly and turning down the road toward Meadow Ridge, but not before I saw what they left behind. A laminated sign, staked into the earth, reading, "Future Community Garden, property of Meadow Ridge HOA." I stood there, silent, staring at the absurdity of it all. She was really trying to carve her way into my land, inch by inch, sign by sign. That's when I knew this wasn't just some petty HOA drama. This was war. Next morning, I marched straight into the sheriff's office and filed a trespassing report. Then I took the laminated sign, placed it on Karen's perfect white porch, and stapled a copy of my deed to it. A little warning never hurt anyone. But I didn't stop there. I called up my grandson Josh, who's an attorney down in Austin. Sharp, relentless, and just like his grandma, smart as hell. Within 2 days, he had drafted a cease and desist letter, a restraining order request, and a petition for defamation in case they tried to file false property claims again. The best part? We also found an HOA internal email leak posted on a local Facebook group. One of the residents, a woman named Shelley who was tired of Karen's tactics, had leaked screenshots of board discussions. In them, Karen wrote, "If we can just get Briggs to cave on the pasture, we can start phase 2 of the walking trail and increase property value." They weren't just targeting me, they were planning to profit off my land. I printed those screenshots and attached them to the cease and desist letter. Josh delivered it personally. Karen opened her door, all smug and confident, until she read the top line and saw the legal letterhead. He told her, calm and clear, "You've trespassed, defamed, and falsified county records. One more step, and you'll be facing a civil suit and criminal investigation." She shut the door without saying a word. But even after that, the HOA tried one more time. I woke up to county officials and a code inspector standing near my fence saying they were responding to a development permit for land use adjustment. They had paperwork, but it was riddled with errors, half of it forged. I handed them my documents, my attorney's card, and told them to leave. That same week, the county launched an internal review. Karen was suspended from the HOA board, and the HOA itself received a formal citation for boundary manipulation and attempted unlawful land claim. As for me, I stood on my southern fence the next morning, coffee in hand, dogs at my side, and watched a work crew take down the fake walking trail markers. Karen's house sat quiet, blinds drawn, SUV gone. Word is she moved out 6 weeks later. She tried to steal my land. But what she didn't understand was this. Ranch land isn't just dirt and grass. It's blood, sweat, and generations of roots. You can't steal that from a man and expect him not to fight. And I ain't done fighting. Not ever.